Welcome back to Ultiworld's continued coverage of the 2023 Club Championships. I'm here with Chicago Machine coach Alex Champ, captain Kyle Rutledge. Congratulations on a wonderful season. It came up just short here in the final. I'd love to talk a little bit about the shape of the game with you. Kyle, you all broke first. Truck got it back. Each team had another break in the first half. Two offenses were cooking at that point. What's the feeling heading into halftime knowing that you have a major battle on your hands yet again?
Yeah, I think we actually had a ton of confidence going into halftime. Johnny Bansfield was coming back for us, and we felt like we were a complete team again. So going into halftime, despite not converting some of our chances that we're going to look back on and regret, I think we felt awesome. Like if you tell me you're tied at half and then you get Johnny back, I'll take that every time. So I think we actually felt kind of good then.
Well, yeah, and another reason you could feel good was the way the entire O-line was playing. There were a couple of mistakes, but by and large, they were getting every reset they needed and getting free throws into the end zone. Between Keegan North getting open regularly in the reset space, Joe White slipping out of Troy Holland's grasp time and time again, and Malik and Nate churning yards downfield, it seemed like you had a really balanced attack. Tell me what that's been like over the course of the tournament, and has that evolved over the course of the season, or has that been pretty much the way it's gone since, say, the U.S. Open?
Over the course of the season, it's definitely been an evolution. We have some travel players, we have people who are kind of new on the O-line, and all the pieces were fitting together, but I think over the course of the tournament, they were cooking that whole time. They were playing amazing. So they really put all the pieces together when they needed to and played great all tournament.
What were some of the matchup considerations that you had to sort through on the D-line as you tried to figure out how to stop a Truck offense that can be pretty good at times?
I think pretty good is an understatement. There are a ton of matchup problems. I don't know, Champ, do you have anything in particular?
Sure. One of the biggest problems was simply the fact that they had 11 people, which seems large, and we were having trouble, like, wait, who's the 11th person? Oh, we still got a matchup with Jock? Wonderful. Fantastic. We're running out of people to throw at them. But ultimately, I think we felt like we had a good game plan, and we felt like we had good matchups. We made them really work super hard, especially early in the first half, for everything they got. And I think they definitely were feeling the pressure. You could see it in some sort of uncharacteristic mistakes for them. So going into halftime, we felt fantastic about our position, the pressure we were applying, and our chances.
And just one thing to add to that, they're really tough to match up against because they trust everyone with the disc. They've built a really strong system where everyone is comfortable, even in the wind. They all get open on resets very well, and they don't give the ball up. So it's really tough to game plan against them when a lot of people can do a lot of different things.
Like last night, the stadium was rocking. There were pro-Chicago songs, there were pro-DC songs coming up sporadically. Obviously, there was the eruption when Bansfield entered the stadium after having served his red card suspension. What does it feel like to actually get to play Ultimate in front of a raucous crowd like you have the past two games?
It feels incredible, and shout out to our sidelines and the people back home who've been texting us, messaging us. We really felt all the love and all the energy, and it definitely fuels the fire. So it feels great, and it really amps you up for the big game.
And there were a few times during this match where a call went to the observers, a close call, and at the end with Pavel's play, kind of a strange call. The observers tended to rule in Truck Stop's favor. I wonder how you all handle those moments on the field, how you reset, or if you have anything to say about those particular plays.
That definitely falls into the uncontrollables category. Once you go to orange, it's out of your control, and that's that. You got to learn to live with it. Definitely the one with Pavel was strange. I don't think a lot of people even realized that it would be a turn. I thought there was kind of like a travel call or something. But yeah, I don't think we feel robbed or anything like that. Calls are going to go Call's way.
Hey guys, congrats on the awesome season, great accomplishment. What's it like getting back to the final, first time since 2019, and what does this say about the future of the program?
Bittersweet for sure. I mean, obviously it feels great to be here and get to play in this moment and have a chance. It sucks that it didn't go the way that we wanted it to, but one thing that's really special about getting to play in this game is all the time that you get to spend together. So we had our machine bubble where for the past 3 days we've all just been hanging out with each other, trying to block out all the distractions, and having that time is really special to get a little bit closer to each other, maybe meet someone, you learn something new about someone that you didn't know. So yeah, even though it didn't quite go our way, it was really great, and I'll definitely cherish those moments. As for the second part, I think it speaks volumes. I think we have a lot of people in the Chicago area and the surrounding Midwest that love to come play with us, and I think that we are, really building something strong and lasting. And yeah, I'm definitely really proud to be a part of that. Anything to add? Cool.
You were obviously very prepped going into nationals. Talk about what the coaching staff brought to the table this year to get you there.
Oh my goodness, they brought so much. We did not have nearly as much support last year, and I just felt it so much this year. It just really allows the captains to focus just a little bit more on their own game, to be better prepared to take the field and add to the team. Man, adding Champ and James this year added so much to our defense, and I really think it showed on the field, on the stat line, wherever. Yeah, it was night and day. It was amazing. So thanks, Champ, and thanks, Kevin and James. Y'all were amazing this year.
Something we touched on a little bit earlier, but I want to dig a little bit deeper on. You have a number of travel players on your team: Jordan, Pavel, Malik, Connor. Can you talk about what it's been like integrating them into the team, and kind of how you've built chemistry without necessarily being able to practice as much as teams that all live in the same city?
Sure. Well, a lot of them come out to practices, and some of them even stay with us for months at a time. So calling them travel players is, misses a little bit of the nuance there. So we really appreciate all the commitment that they make to be here. Or to be in Chicago and to practice. And right, like that's what our team has looked like for the last couple of years, and it is an evergreen challenge. We will continue to be working through that. But at this point, even though some of them are on the O-line, they've been there for multiple years, and even like Pavel is a travel player, but come on, he's been on that O-line since 2016. So they do a great job. They're super engaged even when they're far away from us. They definitely make it easy to integrate them, and they play their roles really well.
No.
All right, Machine's on a bit of an interesting run here. You've made it to the stadium games at Nationals now once every 4 years. 2015, 2019, and 2023. I know it's a little bit early to think about 2024, but what gives you confidence that you'll be back here next year and not have to wait until 2026?
Definitely the buy-in and the culture. Kyle touched on it, like the machine bubble that we made, and just the people that want to come play with us. The culture that we've built is one that people want to play for, and so we feel very confident about our chances going forward.
First thing I want to ask about is just a few players who stepped up here in the final. I thought Jason Valley had a really nice game on the defensive end. Jack Shanahan.
Workouts and making everyone else get better.
Gonna add one more. It's always a tough question because you want to highlight everyone, but I do want to shout out one more person, and that's Jace Bruner. I don't know if y'all knew, but during warm-ups, he broke his finger. His pinky was horizontal, and they relocated it, and he...
welcome back to Ultiworld's continuing coverage of the 2023 Club Championships. We're here with Christian Boxley, David Bloodgood, and Musa Jah of Washington, D.C. Truck Stop, the champions of the men's division in 2023. Guys, congratulations. After falling just short last year, David, how does it feel to be on the top finally?
It feels real sweet. We put in work. I know Christian was posting track workouts last November when everyone was like, yeah, I'm tired. I don't know. It's been a long season. And he was like, I'm ready to put in work. So it feels really sweet to have all that work pay off.
Great. I assume there's just total agreement there about that.
Yep.
I want to talk a bit about the
good.
shape of the tournament. Thursday did not quite go according to plan. You lost a lead late in 2 Universe Point games. How did you all recenter yourselves as a team to be able to attack the bracket all the way through the next 3 days? Go to Christian there.
Sure.
Yeah.
Started 1 and 2, which isn't where we wanted to be Thursday. And I remember sitting at the end of the tournament after our last round, and Joe Durst and some Bravo coaches walked by, and I said, how'd y'all do it last year? And he said to just love each other as a team. And I told him, well, that's unfortunate because all of Truck hates each other. So we went back to the Airbnbs and I think maybe talked, and, we actually love each other. So played some games and just enjoyed each other's presence. One goal I had coming into the tournament is to leave the tournament a closer team than when we got here, regardless of what happened on the field. And I think that sentiment kind of drove us through the rest of the weekend. We found that love, we found that trust, and we just kept playing our game. 2 points doesn't change everything that we worked for the entire season.
Yeah, and we knew coming into the weekend that we were going to have a really challenging pool, playing ringing quarters last year and Bravo in the finals. There were some texts that came in from Old Truckers. Nate Castine sent a message that Alexandre shared with our Slack that really emphasized not letting 2 points define and change our identity leading into the Friday games. So I think that really helped remind us that we are a team very deserving of being here and willing and able to take the championship.
Machine came out punchy in the first half. They broke you on your first offensive possession. You got it back. Teams traded breaks, and it was 8-7 on serve at half. David, the D-line is going to have to get at least one break to kind of definitively stay ahead. How are you planning to attack Machine's offense for the second half once you're standing there on serve at the end of the first?
The O-line having a few weird turns early kind of reminded us from last year, but the difference was they just brought defensive pressure. And I think once the O-line brought that pressure, the D-line was just like, all right, well, it's our turn to do it too. They have some really good inside backhand throwers, and so we did not want to force backhand and allow them to just use that side of the field that they've kind of shown all weekend. So we forced them a lot of flick, dared them to beat us with some of their rounds, and just tried to keep them in skinny spaces on the field. We were pretty successful. They had a few really quick points as well. So just keep reminding ourselves that we are embracing the grind. We don't care if they've played fewer games than us. We have been putting in track workouts all season to be here and be ready to grind and make them grind.
Musa, I know it's been a team effort and a lot of people stepping up in a lot of big ways throughout the year. However, a couple of big step-up moments at the end of that game were from you. You got your hand in to break up the pass. I think it was looking for Malik on one of the late possessions to set up the break to put you all ahead. I want to talk about that play first.
Yeah.
How'd you get the presence of mind to get your hand into that spot so fast?
Yeah, Machine had been doing a great job the entire game of isolating a lot of their really big cutters in space, and so it's just such a hassle to have to deal with Nate Goff, Malik, Joe White in space. And coming in that second half, knowing that they were going upwind and just knowing that we needed to change something up to really mount the pressure and get a break and push us closer to winning, we just started playing a lot more aggressively, and being able to play tighter really got me in that mindset of trying to get a block under instead of kind of conceding and letting them have those.
And then, of course, after the kind of strange Pavel Giannis turnover, you all get the disc. David Cranston hucks deep. Merriman's there, but he's kind of pinched on two sides from Machine defenders. The disc glances off somebody's hand, and you're following the play. Tell me what happens after that and how you're feeling.
Yeah, I mean, whenever David Cranston has the disc on the flick side. I mean, everyone wants to cut deep and catch it. As soon as I saw it go up, Troy Holland instilled something in me since 2022 to always chase things down, give effort to every disc that goes up. And I remember while running down into the deep space of thinking of yelling at AJ to hit it just into the end zone. I thought otherwise, thought I'll just see how it played out, and just ended up in my breadbasket. So.
Breadbasket, like out in front of
Breadbasket, a
you.
little out there, a little
Where's
out
your
there.
breadbasket?
Some people have told me it's gratuitous. I blacked out the moment, and I may have to go back and watch the film. Too much elation from that play. So.
That was fantastic. It was a great play. Christian, I want to ask you about the offense. In the presser with Machine just a few minutes ago, I asked them about how they approached matching up with your various offensive weapons, and they said it posed a real problem that you all went at least 11 deep on the O-line, and they always had kind of a new matchup that puzzled them for a minute. And they also credited Truck's ability to trust everybody with the disc in every situation. I know that that approach has roots at least as far back as last year. Help me understand and help people watching at home understand what goes into making that work with so many people and with so much trust game in and game out over the course of 2 seasons.
Yeah, so I think you said the word exactly right. It's trust. So our offensive system, I know people have talked about it a lot, but when we first got the kind of like information or slides on our system 2 years ago, it was 3 slides. And the rest was trust each other. We all know we're great offensive players. We know what spaces we want to attack, and we can just read off each other. So coming into this season, we knew we were getting Ben Ort. We knew we were getting Aaron Bartlett for the entire season. We knew that we had 11 great offensive players, so why not put them all on the O-line, rotate through all of them, and that's what gave us the legs. And on a Game 7 like this to come out firing and winning battles with our legs instead of having to rely on our throws all the time.
Congrats again, guys. Back-to-back finals appearances. Took it down this year. How was your approach different this year to get the result that you wanted?
Approach this year, so I think it was pretty similar, to be honest. I know some people started working out a little earlier than normal. We had a little bit more buy-in on our AUDL team, but I think pretty similar. Everybody here wants to win every single year, right? So last year we had a great season and fell short in the final. This season we put in that same work, a little bit more in some places, but for the most part we approach every season the same. We want to win a championship, and I think that finally showed this year.
Yeah, and I think this year we've done a lot better of a job facing adversity. I think that's something we really struggled with. We never really got our momentum in the finals last year, and coming out on day 1, 1 and 2 was a tough start, and I think just very humbling for a team that wants to end up in the national championship and winning it all. And so just being able to get ourselves mentally in the right place, I think we worked really hard to focus on that this past year and postseason.
Question for David. Joe White's had a really strong tournament. What was your plan to limit him?
Troy Holland. That's all.
Fair enough. I want to ask you a weird situation we were kind of discussing before we went live. Your coach, Alex Crew, gets injured this morning and isn't able to be at the first half of the game. Can you talk about that, filling that leadership void and how you adjusted to that moment?
Yeah, so Crew's superpower is game prep. I think he knows that he prepares for every game for multiple situations. What happens if we're up by 6? What happens if we get broken twice to start the game? What happens if one of our best defenders is having a terrible game? Like Christian said, we run really deep on the O-line. We do the same thing on the D-line. We run 3 pretty even lines to get everybody in and get everybody playing. So Crew put up a great game plan that just needed a few finishing touches we were going to go over this morning. He had a crazy accident with a dog, and so he had to go to the ER. But Troy and I talked with Lauren, who was mostly working with the O-line all year, and we just set her up for success. We said, this is what Crew's normally doing during games. This is where we're going to need you to step in. And she just took it and ran with it. She had her notes, she was ready to go, and she delivered an excellent coaching performance. So I think it goes back to what Christian was saying earlier. We all trust each other. We knew how good of a coach Lauren was when we talked to her earlier in the year. We worked really hard to get her on. And so her and crew have been chatting all year. So the leadership is a very cohesive unit where if one of us falls or has a bad week or a bad game or a bad moment, someone will always be there to pick up the slack.
Awesome. David, I want to stay with you for just a second. We've talked a little bit about the O-line's offensive approach. You're a big leader for the D-line offense, which maybe is a little more happy to take shots earlier downfield. I'm curious, late in games, you're searching for that extra insurance break. You're often behind the disc. What are you looking for in those moments, and how do you find success?
Yeah, I think we all just cycle, take turns cutting. We had a great game plan coming in that we're going to work them. We're not going to necessarily huck. We know they got big guys, so play small ball. We proceeded to not do that at all and threw a lot of hucks. But it's just one of those moments where you find what's working. You find the small space where you can gain an advantage. And I don't know. I trust everybody with the disc on the line, and everyone's put in the time and the effort all year. So we're just going to always grind and just embrace the grinding mentality.
Final question, just to talk about a couple of big throwing moments that happened. There were a couple of instances in the game where the O-line gets not totally out of the system, but did something that isn't quite as typical for this truck stop team that we've all gotten so familiar with. I know there's a lot of trust in everybody to do the job, but when you see, Tyler Monroe hit that crazy scooper over the top to Ort, or when you see Rowan unleash a 55-yard blade downfield for Cole Jurek to run onto, how do you square that with the rest of your identity, and what are you feeling when you see those throws go up?
The shorter answer is you don't. Those are points where the individual brilliance kind of comes through. So we're a system team, and we like to cycle through our players, but we're all brilliant in our own ways as individual players. So we can be walking up to a line, being like, let's work them, let's walk it up the field. Rowan will catch disc on the flat side and throw a 55-yard, edgy huck perfectly to Cole. Tyler will throw that scuba. Johnny will throw a 70-yard upwind flick. We all have individual moments of brilliance that powers the system that we trust. And that goes across the entire team, D-line, O-line, everybody on the team, coaches. We all have individual superpowers that we also trust along with the system.
I said that was my last question, but I have one more.
Sure.
The stadium was rocking today. There was a lot of machine support last night, a lot of machine support today. There was also a ton of DC support. You all had Vault in the stands, Scandal in the stands, Rally, Grit. I'm sure all contributing to singing and chanting. Some of them a little off color, but all of them positive and appreciated. But, that points to the fact that you have a huge kind of regional gravity in the DC area. This is the region's first championship since I think the Scandal 2014 year. Yeah. What does it mean for DC Ultimate right now to have two teams in the final, one championship, a wealth of teams at nationals, and how does Truck Stop play a part in that?
Yeah, I know DC is the best place to play Frisbee right now in the country. Like you said, 5 nationals, qualifiers, us, Vault, Scandal, Grit, Rally, right? And it's not just that. We have a bunch of teams in the area that are also regionally competitive. And all of us within the community, we have important connections with people on every other team. I know Scandal and Truck are pretty close, and we hang out pretty often. So it's a cohesive unit. It's DC Frisbee, and we're happy we were able to take one home for the entire community.
Yeah, I'd say, too, a lot of our players, a lot of Scandal players, Grit players, Rally players are all coaching in the community, too. I think we have a bunch of youth players who are incredible, a lot of homegrown talent that is way better at Frisbee than I am. And I think it's just going to keep coming, and we all support each other. You see it there. We had to warm up during the Scandal game. We were super bummed, but on the way here, we're all, watching on our phones, trying to, show our support. So it's just that love for the city.
Yeah, I think Christian and David have summed it up great. There's no better place in the country right now to play Ultimate, and we all have our identities on Truck Stop, but to be part of the broader DC community is just a fantastic feeling. Yeah, and just to witness so many people on all these teams doing so much to bring up the youth scene is amazing. So many coaches at the high school, middle school level, college level, everybody taking their time to spend fostering the next generation of players has been an amazing thing to be a part of and inspired by. So shout out DC, wonderful community to be a part of. Everybody should move there.
Come through.
Thank you all so much. Thank you, Christian. Thank you, David. Thank you, Musa. And once again, congratulations on a tremendous season and a tremendous championship.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Let's go.